I had to come back and do this video. It's like a recap I'm doing. I had did a couple of videos about deportation, about immigration deportation. And I actually had finished a set of videos that I wanted to do as far as the subject matter I wanted to cover about the deportations. This is just an added video that I'm going to talk about the Venezuelans in Miami and the Cubans in Miami and the Mexicans that are here that are all crying about being deported. I just want to say I don't feel sorry for them. I honestly don't. Reason being that they had been in this country for a while, a lot of them. And the way they have treated the black people here in Florida, these Spanish people, I actually don't feel sorry for them. I do feel sorry, however, for the people who are not guilty of treating black people like they were second-class citizens. I feel sorry for the ones also who their family members didn't vote for Trump. Because what happened in Miami during this last election, all of these Spanish people felt like it was okay to vote Republican because for some odd reason, they were going to be saved by this man, or he wasn't going to enact the rules or laws that he's trying to enact now. They felt that they were special, that they were going to get some special privileges. They've always felt like that because a lot of the Cubans that come here feel that they're Caucasian, that they're white. The Venezuelans feel the same way. So when you're in Miami, you can't tell these people that they aren't white. They've taken over Miami that if you don't speak Spanish, you cannot even get a job in Miami. You can't. And what these same Spanish people have done, they've populated Miami so much that there's a push. And they're pushing themselves from Miami into Miramar, into Pembroke Pines, into Broward County. So the people that are in Broward that had been here find themselves even moving further and further north because Florida is being populated by all these Spanish people and we can't even get jobs here. I can remember a few years ago, when I say few, meaning more than two, I want to go back to 2006, where Sprint, and I'm going to call them out for who they are. I tried to get a little call center job with Sprint and couldn't get it because guess why? Sprint wouldn't hire me because I wasn't bilingual. I wasn't Spanish speaking. And they hired up a bunch of Spanish-speaking people. Hired tons of Spanish-speaking people because they said, oh, they're bilingual. And the places that were hiring people who didn't speak Spanish, you got paid less because they said if you were bilingual, you can get $1 or $2 more because you spoke another language. At that time, they didn't even consider Creole. Creole didn't even come in the picture yet. It was more Spanish. If you were bilingual, you'll get more money. So as an American, born and raised in this country, you became a second-class citizen to the Cubans, to the Venezuelans, to the Nicaraguans, all those Spanish-speaking countries that people didn't even realize was going on. I realized because I lived through it. I saw it with my own two eyes. I remember the Mario boat lift when Cuba packed up all its prisoners, threw on a boat and sent them here to Florida. And I think all those people that came here at that time through the Mario boat lift were given political asylum. Were actually given political asylum, if I'm not mistaken. And I watched to where Miami got to the point where they felt like they were so emboldened, these Puerto Ricans, not the Puerto Ricans, sorry, but the Cubans and the Venezuelans and all, that they wanted to change Miami and make it a Spanish-speaking city and change the name to a Spanish name. The government had to fight hard to stop that, because that's what they wanted to do at that time. So the government had to fight really, really hard to stop that. Then I remember the kid, I can't remember his name, Juliana or whatever his name was, that he was supposed to go back to Cuba to his father, and they wouldn't allow him to go back, even though his father wanted him back and Castro wanted him to come back. They fought hard to keep that kid here, and his mother had died, and his father wanted him back in Cuba, and they fought hard, saying that they didn't want him. They had to bring in FBI, ICE, all sorts of stuff to get that kid up out of Miami, because they had gotten so emboldened. They're so emboldened down there that they don't even consider themselves anything other than a Caucasian. And when they get a job, they bring their family members one by one by one. So if the job started out where most of the people in there was white and a mixture of some blacks and da-da-da-da, you hire one Cuban or one Spanish in there and give them a year or two, and you'll see that whole job would have turned into a Spanish-speaking facility, because they would have gotten their cousin in, their sister in, their brother, their uncle, or everybody. I'm going to tell you another story. I was working for American Airlines. I was a ramp supervisor at American Airlines in Fort Lauderdale. And we were owned by the same company that owned American Eagle and American Airlines. And I worked for that company for, I want to say 6 years. I worked for them. And when they decided to change that airport into, well, they didn't change the airport. What they decided, because American Airlines and American Eagle didn't have no international flights going out of there, they were going to contract out the Rant, because most of the international flights were happening in Miami Airport. So they said they're contracting the Ramp out. If we wanted to transfer over to Miami, we could if we wanted to. So I decided to, but they said we had to put in an application. So I decided to put in an application to get a transfer down to Miami at the American Airlines down in Miami, at the Miami airport. Put in an application, and they, AMR, which was the company that owned American Airlines and American Eagle, set me up to do an interview, but not an interview per se that day. Because when you work for the airline, they have to check your eyes, your ears. They have to check everything, because working on a ramp, you can easily lose your life from not being alert to the aircrafts or the thugs or the loaders that are moving around you. There's a lot going on in the airport on the ramp. So they want to check your eyes, your ears. They want to make sure you're cognitive, or whatever you want to call that. They did an assessment. But part of the assessment that day was the woman gave me a sheet of paper that she had printed out from the computer with a story, and it had about 3 paragraphs in the story, and she asked me to read it. So I read it, but after I read it, I was curious. I was like, I'm here to test my eyes, my ears, or, my cognitives and stuff. Why is it that she's asking me to read this? So I asked her after I read the whole thing. I said, why did you give me a sheet of paper with a whole paragraph on there, 2 paragraphs to read the story? She says, you would not believe the amount of people that we have on the ramp in Miami that do not speak English. And we are afraid to hire any more in case of accidents, and we start to get lawsuits, because these people do not speak English. I was like, oh my God. So it took them years, AMR, took them years to clean up the Miami ramp to get people on there who were English speaking and could read and write English. So I could tell you a lot of this shit that I talk about, I've lived through it, I know. So I could tell you that these people down in Miami have become so emboldened. They think that they're white. They think that they have some special preference, that they gonna vote Republican and they'll get some special stuff going on for them. And they're the ones that are crying now. They're the ones that are having situations now with what's going on. And black people, I notice here in the U.S., are not even helping them. They just sitting back looking at them and laughing and say, we told you to vote for the black woman. We told you to vote for the black woman. But they think this guy's going to create some big change, and they're going to make some big money, and they're going to be able to do. No, that's not what's happening. America is on a decline. And fast, too. And another thing I want to say, which is not part of this video, but the people don't even realize that even the monetary system is getting ready to change. And you notice, if you even noticed the other day when they were talking about all these tariffs, tariff for Mexico, tariff for China, tariff for Canada, notice the only people that didn't respond was China. China wasn't paying America no attention. They're part of BRICS. China don't give 2 shits. China don't have to trade with America. China couldn't care less. China couldn't care less. He closed his door from all this noise. China couldn't care less. China don't give 2 hoots. China is part of BRICS. And BRICS has about 10 or 15 countries now that are part of that organization, that they're going to trade amongst themselves, and they're going to need some common currency. And that currency is going to be XRP, Ripple's XRP. And the monetary system is changing rapidly. People are so asleep, so not woke. But this is not what this is about, this video. This video is about the Cubans, the Venezuelans, all the Spanish people down in Miami that have thought that they were on top of some high pedestal. And they're starting to feel now what it feels like to be actually black and in America. Leave a thought. Tell me what you think. This is just me ranting like usual, because I got a lot to rant about. If you think I'm wrong to say that I don't feel sorry for these Cubans or none of these Spanish people down in Miami, tell me, D, you're wrong. You shouldn't feel that way. But comment, like, and please subscribe, because I'm here to stay, and you're going to hear some interesting things coming from me in the future. You guys have a good day. I'm out.